This time out on the podcast, my guest is Olly Andrews. Olly is the frontman of the band Susans, and as well as that, he's also top man in music PR company We Like Oliver. As part of the band Susans, Olly has toured the UK with the South, formerly known as Beautiful South. They've also supported Newton Faulkner, the Mystery Jets, and Imagine Dragons. We spoke about all this, plus we also touched on Olly's work with his PR artist management company We Like Oliver, and we get some fascinating insights into some of the things that up and coming bands should look at doing in order to help them stand out for the crowd. I hope you all enjoy the podcast. Keep liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, doing whatever you can to support the podcast, but most importantly, enjoy. On the podcast today, I have Olly Andrews. He is in a band Susans, and he also runs a music marketing company. I think we'll go with that for now, called We Like Oliver. But what I do at the start, obviously, I like to get back to the start of my guest career. So, Olly, what was life like for you growing up? Where did you grow up, and how did you begin your journey into music?
Yeah, okay. That's a good question to start off with. I like it. Yeah, I grew up in a place called West Wickham, which is southeast London, getting on the border of Kent. Pretty lower middle class family, I would say. So I had a pretty nice upbringing, bringing all in all. Yeah, lovely family, loving family, and everything like that. And yeah, I was very fortunate with that. Big family, and there's got brother and sister and stuff. And I guess getting into music, my parents are very supportive of that. Um, they started me on the piano. I moved on to saxophone. I always had like a musical ear. I think my nan was quite vital to that whole process because she used to always make me sing in the car. She'd like be looking after me a lot of the times. I always got that musical ear from her, I think. And then yeah, started playing those instruments. I kind of always saw the piano and saxophone as a bit of a chore, to be honest. Like it was one of those things that I had to do to, impress mum and dad and all that. So I didn't fall in love with them so much. But I remember I had a teacher, she was fairly old, and I used to pretend that I could like play the piano and read the sheet music when actually it was all just down to my ear. I just kind of like see what she would do on the piano and I would copy it, and I'd know where the notes are instead of that. So I kind of
Mm-hmm.
tricked my way up to get into like grade 3 or 4, I think it was, on piano. And then eventually, yeah, I was like, you kind of sussed out that I couldn't actually read music at all, so I kind of stopped doing that. And then I picked up the guitar instead, which is, yeah, an instrument obviously that I've carried on to now. And that was, I kind of started the guitar because my brother, he started playing, and yeah, he's an older, but he's like a year older than me, so we always had that massive sibling rivalry. And as soon as he started getting good at the guitar, I was like, well, I'm supposed to be the musical one in the family. What's going on here? So yeah, I just like jumped on it and started playing a lot. I got absolutely obsessed with playing guitar. Like I would just play guitar for get home from school and I just pick it up and I just play it all day, all the way through to the night time, go to bed, wake up in the morning, play it again, go to school, come back, play it again. Like I would just be absolutely obsessed, and singing as well. And then yeah, there was this band in school, um, who I was like friends with a couple of their members, and I was really jealous that they were like going, and I somehow managed to like wrangle my way into the band and then started playing guitar for those guys. Man versus Blender was the first name, which is probably one of the worst names for a band ever. But yeah, we had
I've
some
heard some bad names in my time. So.
Man versus Blender. It's got to be up there. Yeah, but yeah. So I started playing guitar for them, and I kind of quickly realized that our singer couldn't actually sing. So I started doing backing vocals, which eventually became me, becoming the singer of the band. So we were going for a while, and we eventually it kind of worked out that there was no original members left in the band from when it started, which was a bit strange. So we ended
Hmm.
up like reforming, made a new band called We Could Be Scenery, and yeah, we gigged a lot. Like I we used to gig a lot in like Croydon, which is a bit of a rough part of town near where I grew up. It's kind of like known in London for being a bit rough and ready. But yeah, we used to play in this place called the Cartoon Club, um, which we were well underage. But yeah, somehow we just kept on going there. It must have been like I think we were as young as 14 sometimes, like playing in these bars. My friends getting drinks at the bar somehow. Pretty impressive stuff, really, looking back. So yeah, we just be there a lot. Like there was another bar in Penge called like it was like a pub called the Alexandra Pub, and they used to put on the night monthly called the Amp Farm. So we'd be gigging in there a lot. Um, and then yeah, that kind of fizzled out. I ended up going to university, and I kind of always thought like the band stuff was never gonna be, it wasn't sensible. I kind of come from like a family where their insurance got like family. Like my granddad
Yeah.
set up an insurance company, and my dad ended up working for it, and um. I always thought that I'd end up just working in business, so I had started studying marketing, uh, and then yeah, took that pretty seriously in my degree in that. And then I did a 4 year course, so I had to do a placement year. So the first year I would do the first 2 years. No, yeah. So the first year would just be a normal year, and then the second year was a placement year where I had to go and work. And I ended up getting really messed around by the company that was going to take me on. Um, so I ended up working for my parents' business in the insurance company for a year, and I just remember absolutely hating it and remember thinking, I will never do this. Like this is just not who I am. I never want to work in insurance. And yeah, around that time, like we started, we yeah, picked up the band again, and that was kind of the forming of Van Susans, which became my life task really. So yeah, Rob Dulloway was he yeah, me and him formed the band. He was the drummer of Van Susans for years, and he had two brothers. He actually had three brothers, but two of the brothers were musically gifted guys. Like one's called Ed, who's his first younger brother, and then his youngest brother Tim. So all four of us started the band. So it was me and the Dulloway boys. So we,
Hmm.
we, we all, almost called the band Olly and the Dulloways, but it didn't really have a good ring to it. So if we settled on Van Susans in the end, um, named after a friend of ours who was yeah, he was killed when we were 18. We all like grew up on the, like loads of my friends, like most of my best friends all grew up on this one street called Palace View in Bromley, and we just spend like most of our time there, like messing around, like playing football in the street. And then like Rob would have like a garage around the back of his house, and we just play music in there, like all day, and invite girls over and just play to them and stuff. And then yeah, this guy Dan was there all the time, and yeah, so he was killed in a motorbike accident, and it was a real shame because he was like really integral to us growing up. Like he used to play drums and guitar a bit, and he'd jump on, he'd help us with our gear, he'd
Hmm.
drive us around and stuff like that. He was a legend, but yeah, he was killed really suddenly. So we decided to name the band after him because his name was Dan Susan. So we changed it to Van Susans because he used to always say that he'd buy a van and drive the van around. That's where the band name came from. Um, but yeah, the forming of Van Susans, and that kind of became an obsession with me to the point where my university like took a real hit with it, to be honest, because it just became my main focus. Ended up dropping out of university. My dad, he got really sick. Uh, yeah, like really like got cancer when I was like in my third year, and ended up passing away from it. So
Oh,
that
sorry
like
to hear
was
that.
that was a massive like influence on my journey and everything. So I just kind of was in a place where I just couldn't really continue with the course, and like yeah, the band stuff was happening hand in hand. So I just decided to just step away from it. Thought I'd come back to it later in years, whatever, but never happened. Um, and then yeah, just the music kind of took over, and I just kind of realized that there is a lot to be done within the music industry, and obviously had to get a job as well as the band because it's so hard to make money
Yeah.
as an original artist nowadays. Like, so yeah, I did like a couple of internships. I remember the first one was at a event organizer. They were called the Event Umbrella. They were based up in North, like West London. Well, Acton, Ealing. So I think that's West London. So it was a long old commute for me. It was like an hour and a half to get there every day from where I was in West Wickham. But yeah, it was worth it. We ended up doing they put on like a lot of community festivals, like jazz festivals and stuff, but they did a couple of really fun ones. I ended up going to Bulgaria for like a house music festival that they put on, and I was just doing stage management for them. I really enjoyed that element. And then I started working with the company So Far Sounds, who are really, really big, and I started doing like comparing for them, like more stage management stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and then started working for One Little Indian Records, who like they're like Bjork label, and so
Right.
I was mostly in the stock room for them, like sending out vinyls and stuff. They had this huge, huge stock room downstairs which they shared with a couple of other labels, and I would just like end up like going through on my lunch break, like through the vinyl sleeves and seeing what they got. My favorite band is a band called Frightened Rabbit, which are a Scottish band.
Uh-huh.
And do you know them? Do you you know 'em?
Yeah, I was big into them, obviously. I wouldn't say that I knew them at the time, but obviously once Scott took his own life,
Hmm.
I kind of got into them then, and I was like really angry with myself that I hadn't kind of been more aware of them at the time because their music's some of the best stuff I've heard.
Yeah, they're my favorite band. I got into them during the second album, um, Midnight Organ Fight, which is still my favorite album ever.
Hmm.
And then yeah, so I went to go see him play a lot. And yeah, when he did pass away, it was just absolutely heartbreaking. Massive influence on me and my music writing. My second album that we did with Van Susans is called Human Heat, which is like a reference to him because he always sings about that. He puts that lyric in a lot of his songs. That was kind of like an ode to him at the time. But yeah, anyway, I was working for One Little Indian, and one day like I was looking through the stockroom and I found like loads and loads of Frightened Rabbit records that they had because apparently they shared stockroom with Fat Cat Records, which was Frightened Rabbit's label. So I ended up
Hmm.
like taking a bunch of those sleeves, which was really, really cool. But then after that, yeah, like so that was a short stint at One Little Indian doing digital marketing, like social media management, because like you got to be so good at that stuff now when you're original artist. That's where I got my skill set. It was like hands on from like doing it with Van Susans. So then naturally my natural progression was just to fall into that. So yeah, then I started working for a management company called Yellow Brick Music with a lady called Meredith Cork, who is a really like big name in the music industry. She's like
Uh-huh.
this Australian, like really strong, sassy woman. She's like managed like Butch Vig, like the producer of Nirvana, and um, yeah, did Marcel Detroit, like yeah, a lot of like really really big names. So
Uh-huh.
we ended up working together there for about 6 years on loads of different projects. Um, until she ended up well semi-retiring, moving to the coast like Ramsgate. Now she owns like a music venue slash like cocktail bar down there. So I still stay in touch with her. But yeah, during that time, like ended up managing or co-managing Glenn Matlock from the Sex Pistols. You know, I did like a lot of upcoming artists like Harley, Fiocra. I worked campaigns with Right Said Fred. Um, yeah, loads of exciting stuff. So, but then, yeah, when she decided to move, like, and it kind of broke up Yellow Brick, she kind of just said like, you should just go out and do it on your own as an artist management company. So, yeah, so that was a tough decision really to like to do that because I've always like worked for other people, but I just loved doing what I did so much, and I had artists that I was working with at the time on campaign management. I didn't want to just stop it for them, so I ended up just starting my own label. So it is digital marketing, but it's artist management, campaign management.
Hmm.
Um, I've been doing that, yeah, for a few years, and obviously, basically, as soon as I set it up, like within 3 months, COVID hit, so it really shook everything up quite a lot, which was a really terrible time. Yeah, because I had me and my brother and my sister, we do a lot of work together. They're like really creative souls. They're artists within their own rights, and like my brother's got his own company going on now. We originally were working together, and I had like another two other people working with me, so it was like five of us. And as soon as COVID hit, it was like, artists couldn't play anymore. So like most of the artists I was working with, like, were just making money from live music. Like obviously streams is a way to make it, but most people would say live is so important. So as soon as that income came their way, they couldn't pay me anymore. So I had to just like strip everything back. Couldn't afford to pay anyone anything. So I just like yeah, went off one man band. I've basically just been a one man band ever since. But it's been fun. I've had some really great artists come through for me, and got a lot of exciting stuff in the pipeline.
That's
And
so that I mean that sounds an amazing story. Just for you saying it without any questions or anything. So I mean that's woman. What was the woman's name again at Yellow Brick?
Meredith Cork.
Meredith Cott. So when she says, "I think you should go and just do this yourself," like going back to that, what were your feelings? Because obviously her telling you go and do it, you must have been qualified, but was there maybe just a fear of kind of getting out on your own?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like it was loads of elements involved with it because it's like, realizing that you have to do tax yourself, you'd have to register the business yourself, you'd have to be in charge of all that. It's no longer like a PAYE job, and it's the responsibility solely of having it on my shoulders. Whereas before, it was kind of the setup was Meredith was the boss, she was like the head honcho, and I was the guy who was like on the ground, going to gigs, like going to band rehearsals, like having that kind of relationship with like almost like a mate with like artists. You know what I mean? And I realized that now it would just completely fundamentally change that. I'd have to like really step up in that. But yeah, as you said, I was doing it. I've been doing it for so long in such different facets within the industry. Like I had, yeah, I kind of backed myself. I remember speaking a lot to my friends about it, whether or not it was a good idea. But there was definitely a fear of like going out on your own. It is a really big decision to do. But yeah, I think it was in the long run. It's been a good one. I'm happy that I did it. Um, yeah, as I said, everything that's like coming up in the pipeline is looking rosy.
Mhm.
It probably wasn't the best time in hindsight. Probably should have waited till after the pandemic, but um, yeah, all good.
The thing is that there never really is a best time for anything. You need to kind of just strike at the moment. Obviously, I met a band on the podcast, and they didn't have any management. I
Mm,
spoke to a guy I knew that was a manager that had had his band on the podcast previously, and I
yeah.
said, "Look, this band are looking for management. I think you'd be perfect for it." And he says, "Well, I could do it." He says, "But why don't you do it?"
Mhm.
And I was like, because we'd had discussions about it before, and I thought, right, well, I'm good, and I just jumped at it. But because I was unsure, I asked another person to come in and help co-manage it. So
Yeah,
that leads me on to the next question because I didn't like co-managing.
you didn't
So
like it.
you said that you co-managed Glenn Matlock. So how did that work then? Like with working with somebody else?
With Meredith, we had a great relationship, to be honest. She was like a real mentor to me. I yeah, like mad respect for her, and she really believed in me as well. So it was this really good, yeah, like duo that we had. Um, yeah, I mean, we did a lot of stuff. I mean, she was obviously a fair bit older and that, but she had so much energy. And but I'd be the one, scouting, like go out and like meet artists and like go to gigs constantly. I just like if I wasn't playing gigs, like I'd be at a gig, I'd be working a So Far Sounds gig, like MCing or just going to my mate's band or whatever. I just had my finger on the pulse like a lot. Whereas she was kind of the office one, you know what I mean, like doing the bigger deals, talking to like the big labels and stuff whenever it comes to it. But she had like the connections of like loads of places that I wouldn't because I was quite young and new to it in my
Hmm.
like 20s, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's just having that like with any projects, you just gotta be excited about it and be passionate about it and believe in it, and then it won't really feel like a job in that sense. With Glenn, I mean, he's such a hardworking guy. Like he always says to me that a musician should be playing live. That was like his like thing that he kind of instilled in me. Like if you are a musician and you should be playing gigs, then he literally would just gig like all the time, like get around the country and fly out to Japan and wherever we'll have him. He'll always gig him with his different setups that he's got. Yeah, so he was great. I mean, we did an album with him. Um, but then it kind of came to an end when Meredith ended up, moving to Ramsgate and stuff. She got quite unwell at one point. She managed to
Hmm.
beat it, but she got cancer. But so that kind of like changed everything for her a bit. She had to kind of step back. So that was kind of like a progression as to why she ended up stopping, I think. Um, but yeah, Glenn can't speak any more highly of him. Really, he's just such a great guy with really great work ethos and really good musical mind on him.
I'm pretty sure that band that I was talking about, the band that I ended up that I co-managed for a bit, I'm pretty sure they supported Glenn Matlock a couple of times.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
wouldn't be surprised. He
Slow
gigs
Time
like
Mondays they were called.
what
They're
are they called,
from
sorry?
Slow Time Mondays.
Okay,
They're from Crawley.
right, okay, yeah,
So done that way. I'm pretty sure they worked with him for a bit.
yeah,
Before I was involved, but I
yeah.
that's
No, yeah, he gigs a lot solo, but he plays with like Old Slick as well and like Jim Lowe. So they're kind of like a all-star band that he pulls together from his mates and that. Yeah, did a few hundred club shows with him, which he always sells out, and
hmm
they went to Glastonbury where he played like the acoustic tent at Glasgow, which is like it is a huge tent, and he managed to pack that out, which is really impressive. So yeah, we've been to some pretty cool stuff. Me and him, I toured around. Yeah, went on a few like shows abroad with him as well, which was great. He's really like adored, like especially in Germany. Because I remember when it was Brexit, we did a Brexit show out in Germany in Berlin, and they invited me to come and play because I was representing the Scottish angle because my dad's Scottish and Van Susan's we have a violinist who's called Holly McClatchy who's Scottish. So we've always had like a massive alliance to Scottish. So I was representing Scotland out for this show, and they invited Glenn, and yeah, it was like a huge event for like a punk night because he's like a British icon, isn't he? So
yeah.
that was cool. Yeah,
So I mean, touching on the company, we like Oliver. So as you say, online marketing, artist management. What does all that entail, and what elements of that come into your work, and how do you help bands through that?
yeah. I'll always be like whenever I get an artist apply for me, I always do like it'll be a two-way street because I want to make sure that I can actually help them is the most important thing. A lot of because I do offer PR. I can gain opportunities in terms of radio and press and everything like that, but I don't specialize in it necessarily. I'm more like strategy and how to appeal to masses. I can help out with a lot of live stuff because I've gigged so many times and have so many fingers in terms of festival work and like where to play. But it's more like strategy and like when to release, how to release, like making sure that you're applying to all the normal channels like your Fresh on the Net, your BBC Uploader, doing all that. And then, but digital marketing is such a big area nowadays. If you're an artist looking to break through, you want to really put in like quite a lot of money and strategy into social media, like, TikTok and Instagram, such a good way of making fans now. Like YouTube still, it totally depends on the artist. Like each artist is different. You can push them into getting good at that stuff, and I've got a lot of advice as to how people can start utilizing those platforms. But it depends on them because they might just really not be comfortable in front of a camera. So then that kind of you have to maybe think about going a different route, and then you have to plan like if they got a budget behind them. So if they don't want to do all that stuff, then you'd have to think of other angles. Like maybe you do need to think about getting a heavyweight PR involved or a radio plugger instead. But
Hmm.
yeah, and it's multifaceted. It's like anything, isn't it? You got to have like a real strategy behind releasing your music because you put so much work into like recording it and writing it, such a monumental amount of time and effort. You want to make sure that Like you work that single, you know what I mean, as hard as you can and give it as much room to breathe before moving on to the next one.
So, like social media wise, then, like what would you recommend for bands starting out? Should they be posting on social media? How regular should they be posting to kind of
Um,
connect?
Yeah, I always say that it depends on again on the acts. Like if they got a natural affinity for it, and like if it's a band, like you say that band that you're looking to manage, you've got five of them, right? So maybe identify the person who's really good at doing it on this personal one, and then just getting them to like lean in on it. But I would get hands on with some acts where I would be posting content myself and creating things for them. But then like if they have an event that they're doing where even if they're in the studio rehearsing, I'd just ask them to get like photos of that rehearsal. You know what I mean? Because you don't think of
Mhm.
doing stuff like that when you're like in it, like when you're just like living it. It's such like you have to almost take yourself out of the situation, be like, oh, this calls for a photo opportunity, doesn't it? It doesn't come natural to some people. So it's kind of like picking out the member of that band who is going to be good at doing that, and then having an open dialogue with them, and just making sure they are taking photos every time, they are taking videos, like you know what I mean? Like gigs obviously is so important. Like I would always recommend to and any show that anyone plays to like book a professional photographer if they have a mate who like takes photos, and like that's great. You can literally get Polaroid pictures now for like really cheap, so like you at least have something to remember the gig by each time. But yeah, I mean, if in an ideal world you'd be posting up like every day, every other day on certain platforms, but I would also say you want to be covering like every single social media that is out there. But again, it's just time, isn't it? Because like Facebook
Yeah,
is still important. A lot of people still discover artists from Facebook, and it's just another outlet as well as Instagram, as well as TikTok and Twitter. So you're like maximizing your opportunities by hitting up every single platform. I'd say Twitter is so important for acts because it's like a way that you can really get directly chatting to like gatekeepers. I always call them gatekeepers. So you've got your John Kennedy, your Jim Galatly, who I know you recently interviewed. They're like gatekeepers in the sense where they can like actually make a lot of opportunities for you. And like if you use Twitter, if you utilize it, if you get yourself a good following on it, and you're communicating with people, and Jim Galatly puts something up, and you can like have a direct dialogue with them, and you can't really do that with other ones. I find Twitter is really good at actually having communications with people. And like a lot of the time with my acts, I would say, if they got a new song out, best way of getting a song to a DJ is going and meeting them. Do you know what I mean? Like John Kennedy puts up like he's doing his like showcase next week or whatever. You go and take a CD to him. Go to that gig, like hand him a CD. He's gonna listen to it. I've had so many plays like from that kind of thing, but you wouldn't know it without being active on Twitter. So, but yeah, it's the same with like all the other ones. They've all got their benefits. TikTok is like a way for people to discover new music now all the time. Like that thing of playing acoustic guitar in front of a camera, I don't think will ever go away since the days of YouTube.
yeah,
If you get a good quality setup like with a good microphone and like, even an iPhone, like iPhone's qualities now are so good with their cameras. And then yeah, just recording yourself doing that, or like making like trend videos. They're so important now. Um, with like your song playing in the background or whatever, that's going to get exposure. So
it
yeah,
is.
there are lots of ways of utilizing it.
It's an absolute minefield. I mean, for myself in promoting the podcast, I mean, I've never even went near TikTok. Um,
Yeah.
I feel as if I'd be too old to go on TikTok. But all the social media platforms seem to work differently. Like Instagram, I like to use Instagram, but for the turn of the year, I've been posting. Um, so I post like a story when a new episode comes out, and then I post a picture as well on Instagram. But when you write like the kind of blurb underneath the picture, you don't seem to be able to. I put like a hyperlink for the podcast so they can go to it, but it doesn't show up as a hyperlink.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so
So what you
things
want to
like
do is
that
you
where
want to
you can put the hyperlink on Facebook and it does show up.
yeah, so you can put the hyperlink in the URL bio, like in your
Right.
description, and then you say in the post, you'd be like, "Oh, click the bio to gain access to the podcast," kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's like one thing, yeah. But it's just the sense of knowing it, isn't it? Like you talk to like proper musicians or proper artists, they don't know this stuff. They're like most of them don't like doing it. Do you know what I mean? But unfortunately, it's not. I mean, I like to think that the cream rises to the top, but I've seen so many artists over the years who have absolutely killer song who just don't work it enough and they don't put it out and they don't put the time into like getting the followers because like radio shows and labels are so they find that stuff so important, like the stats. It's like stats to them. That's what
Yeah.
they care about. So you have to have like thousands of TikTok followers or Instagram or whatever. You got to have one platform. Whereas before they even consider to come on board, that's like the shame of it all. Like you got your like new music DJ stuff. They got very very limited amount of spot plays that they actually get anyway during the week now. But even them will probably look at that and be like, oh, how many, if I play this one band, this single, compared to like this other band who's got 100,000 followers on their Instagram, I'm gonna, maybe I'm gonna play them even if I like the song that much. I like a lot of them. John Kennedy is like a true champion of new music. He will play a song if he loves it. But your other stuff, like your Radio One, you're not going to get a look in until you start getting like some real good numbers on social media. It's just the unfortunate truth of it all.
You, I mean, you look at a band like the Snuts. They've just brought out their third album. Obviously, they parted company with their record label and they set up their own record label. But they were quite vocal in the social media element and been asked to do things that they maybe weren't comfortable with,
Oh, right, really.
TikTok and stuff like that. Which
Mm,
obviously, I mean, if you look at the social media, it does seem kind of nailed on. But obviously, if they were being asked to do stuff they maybe weren't so comfortable with,
yeah.
but they're at a stage in their career where they feel they can just right, well, we'll leave this and we'll go elsewhere and we'll do our own thing. But
Yeah.
for a newer artist that coming into all this, it must be so daunting for them.
Yeah, I mean labels and stuff. I was lucky with Van Susan's. We had a label come on pretty early on with us in our first ever EP that we released, and they had Beatnik Geek Records, who were two guys, and they took a lot of the heavy lifting away from us in terms of digital releasing, getting everything up online with the right IRC codes and everything like that was taken care of. And yeah, they were really good with the splits royalties that we had, and they were very good at promoting us and getting us opportunities and stuff like that. But yeah, you hear a lot of stories of people who signed to especially major record labels. Like you hear it so often where like people would just get dragged along and you get starry eyed with it where it's like, oh my god, I'm going to sign a major deal, and then they get dragged along and you just literally can just get put up on a shelf and not allowed to release it because like it's just down to the label, isn't it? So yeah, I've heard it so many times with acts. So they get dragged along where they started off getting that record deal when they were 23, and then by 5 years have gone by, they're still sitting on the label going, oh yeah, we'll release it next year, next year's your year, and they get to like they're like 30 and they've lost the passion, and lost the drive for it, and
Yeah,
that acts will never happen. It will never happen for them. And I feel like I always would whenever I whenever I had that first interview with an act that I'm looking to work with, it's so important for me to understand what they actually want. And I get turned off when they say, "Oh, I want to sign with a major record deal," because I'm like, that's just not really what I do. Like I prefer working with acts who want to roll up their sleeves and do the day to day and like get involved where they have all the royalties themselves instead of signing away 80% to a major. You know what I mean? Like because it is so important to keep control and your like artist integrity as well, because most labels will want to take that away, as you said with that other band.
yeah. Obviously, getting back, touching on the band Van Susans, uh, two albums out, Paused in the Moment in 2012, and as you mentioned, Human Heat in 2019. A new album due out next year, am I correct?
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, it's early days. Like, I never put a line under Van Susan's because, like, the end of the last record, it was a really weird time for us. Like, we didn't push it as hard as we could. Ed ended up leaving basically just after the album came out. We've had a lot of musicians in Van Susan's. I think we're up to 21 now. Like, come and
Right.
go. It's been like real like tough to keep it all together. We did. I mean, we have a core following, which is great. We never really made it to the heights of success where it was ever really making any real money out of it. So that's like a real problem for other members because, like, really, it's me and Ed who are the creative souls behind it. Um, we were the two main songwriters. Rob was early on in the band, but he left after the first album. So since then, it's just been carrying other musicians, and if they're not playing their own songs that they're writing, it's hard to keep them and stuff. So yeah, but it got to the end of Human Heat, and it was just a bit too much. Like we basically haven't done anything for a long time now in terms of gigging, and yeah, I just focused on the management side of music and working with other acts, and I started doing a lot of cover stuff. Like I've run a couple of open mic nights in my town, which I've been doing for the last 5 years now, which I really enjoy. I started a wedding band, which is good fun. So
I
I
was going
play,
to touch on that as well.
yeah, I play like more than I probably ever have. I mean, when Van Seasons were like peak, we one summer I think we did about like 75 shows or something like that. So probably not like to that extent, but I'm gigging, at least 3 or 4 times a week at the moment. So I'm like proper like professional musician and enjoying it. But it is playing other people's songs, and it came to a point last year, and I was just like, I just need to go back to like making my own music. I think it's been enough time. So. Ed, yeah, Ed's had a bit of a roller coaster. He was due to move out to America because of his job, and now he's living in Amsterdam. So it's tricky, but he's still my best friend. And yeah, we chat all the time. Whenever he comes over to the UK, we always hang out. And yeah, we just started to write music again. And I'm I'm getting married in July. It's my stag do in 2 weeks' time. And
Oh,
but after that, I'm gonna go out to Amsterdam for a couple of weeks, and we're just gonna write like an album. I think because we're so productive when me and Ed get together. Like it's like I speak to a lot of other artists, and like writing songs is different for everyone. But with me and Ed, if we sit down to write a song, we will write a song. That's how it always has been. So I know that like we're gonna end up churning out a bunch of new tracks. We've had a couple of music projects along the years. Like we had a band called Death Row Kudos, who was like a bit of a metal band we were doing for a little while. We wrote some really, really good songs with that. We're gonna probably strip those apart and like repurpose them for Van Seasons in the folk style. And then yeah, hopefully next year we should have the album ready to go. We are like an album band. Like I always say to my acts that I promote that you want to do a single by single basis release strategy. That's like kind of the way it is in the industry now. Before
hmm
doing an album, you want to make a demand for that album. You want to get people ready to like actually want to listen to it. But I don't necessarily know if I'm going to practice what I preach because I just think that we're like an album band and like we've done 2 albums now, so it feels like the third album should be that. But yeah, we'll at least have a single ready by I'm going to set my task for January next year. So fingers crossed, it all goes to plan. I
It's
haven't yet got our violin player on board, um, but yeah, we kind of figure we're going to write the music first and then present it to Holly, and hopefully she gets involved. She's had a kid recently, so life's happened to all of us.
oh, life gets in the way, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
man.
Obviously, like, touching on that kind of format, like, I mean, I don't mind a couple of singles for an album, but a lot of the bands now, you seem to kind of they release single, 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 single. You end up you get half the album out before the actual album comes out, so you don't seem to get a full album as such because you've already heard half it by the time it comes out.
Yeah, I mean it's just the monster of it all now, isn't it? You just need to promote as much as you can. So just doing single after single is probably the best approach because then you just want to work one song to death. Like you want to make a campaign. People make campaigns like 6 months to a year nowadays on one song. I've had that before
Yeah,
with an act called Harley with a song called Beautiful Mess, which they did really, really well. But yeah, you just want that one song to kind of land. It depends on the singles, isn't it? If you know you're sitting on an absolute killer song, then you just want to work it like as hard as you can. But some acts are album bands because they've already got the massive fan base there, haven't they? So they will just do like 2 singles and then drop an album. But if you're an upcoming artist, I'd always recommend to go for the long route of single by single by single, and
mm.
then maybe an EP, and then single, 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 and then you probably drop an album with some of the songs on the EP. So yeah, you would have heard those songs already.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
So, with the Van Susans, looking at the kind of the names that you were kind of touring with and sharing a stage with,
Yeah,
uh,
like
some big names.
yeah, so we played a lot with Bastille, who they were a band who were like around our area. We used to see Dan a lot in like clubs and stuff like that we'd be playing at. And his like he's got best mates who are with a band called Tequila King, who we gigs with a lot, and we were kind of involved in that circuit. Um, yeah, we went on tour with the Beautiful South, but they were without Paul Heaton, so it was just the South. And we went on tour with them a couple of times, which was really fun. We
That's
came
when
up,
I seen the Beautiful South.
yeah,
I was looking for some contacts for Paul Heaton, but
yeah,
I'm sad that he wasn't there for that.
right.
I
Yeah,
was
I'm
looking
still
for
in
some
touch.
contacts.
I'm still in touch with a couple of the other guys. If you want me to put you in touch with them,
Mm,
maybe you can get to Paul that way. Yeah, that was cool. We came out to Scotland a couple of times, played Aberdeen and Glasgow, played the Arches, and we played the Lemon Tree, I think it is in
uh-huh.
yeah. So that was a good crack. Yeah, we done like a show of Imagine Dragons, like just on their like warm up act, kind of supporting them. So yeah, we've had some pretty big names over the years. Like when we did like a lot of festival work, like we basically played like almost every single folk festival in the UK, I would say. Um, so loads of like big folk names like Bellowhead shared a stage with them. Um, yeah, looking forward to getting back to it. To be honest, I haven't played an original show in so long, so once we get this new record out, we'll hopefully be back on the festival circuit next summer.
And yeah, and maybe get another kind of massive band for a bit of tour support as well, and that would be
Yeah,
ideal for me.
it's always a dream. It's so hard to do is the thing. It's like getting something like that is so rare because it really comes down to the booking agents and the labels, and you got to think about that booking agent might have like 10 other bands on its list on its like actual roster. So they're gonna obviously want to get them on board, isn't it? So they do a lot of buy-ons now, so you can like pay to like be support for acts, which is
Hmm.
quite a big thing in the industry. A lot of people do that, and they do. It's probably money pretty well spent if it makes sense, because then you're going to put yourself out in front of like potentially thousands of people. So
Yeah,
you see why acts do that.
I've seen the band. I've had Ryan Breslin for the K Zone, and they supported James quite a few times. I think they
Nice.
share the same booking agent, so
Yeah.
they got on that gig quite a bit. But that I mean, like something like that to go for an up and coming band going on tour with James, you're taking your band and you're going to be seen by thousands of people up and down the country. It's a brilliant chance.
Yeah,
That
100%.
boy had also before that previously in his brother's band were supporting the Who in America,
Nice.
and the guy that done keyboards couldn't get a visa.
All right.
They roped Ryan in. He learned the keyboard, and 2 weeks later he's out on tour in America playing alongside the Who. Like it's one of his first gigs, man. It's mental.
Yeah, that is mental. Well, couldn't play the piano, and then 2 weeks he,
Yeah.
he, he had it down. That's impressive.
Um, where are we? So the wedding band as well. I just wanted to touch on that because I've seen it online. Did you get you won an award or something? Is that right for best
Yeah,
wedding
we,
band?
we got to be one of the finalists for the best Kent wedding band, which is pretty cool actually. Yeah, I mean, I'm really enjoying it to be honest. It's been about 2 years now of having it, and try to not be the conventional wedding band where you're playing like the Killers and the Oasis and stuff like that. Like, I would actually probably want to blow my brains out if I ever became that kind of artist. So I always try and play stuff that's a bit more interesting. At the end of the day, you are playing for a couple special day, aren't you? So you have to play your crowd pleasers and your floor fillers, but yeah, I mean, just songs that are like interesting and intricate to play with, like interesting guitar work and melodies and stuff. Like we do a lot of ABBA, which is really fun. Actually, I love playing that. with our own like twist on it. Yeah, we do a lot of David Bowie and Queen, everything like that. A lot of 80s classic like Hall and Oates. Our guitar player Joe is like phenomenal at like lead guitar, and I play rhythm. He does like vocals as well, and it's just like sometimes sit back and just like listen to him shred on the guitar, and it's so good. No, when he yeah goes into like any solo, we'll just like add like even if a song hasn't got a solo part, we'll just add it in just so Joe can just like go nuts on the guitar for like the minute. I'm just like yeah, but yeah, it's really good fun. It's like I love it a lot more than I thought I would. Because as an original artist, I'm sure any original artist will tell you that like playing your own songs compared to playing covers is like night and day. It's so much better playing your own stuff, and like you almost feel like you're defeated when you start doing cover stuff.
Hmm.
Oh why am I not doing original stuff? But you have to make a living, don't you? And yeah, I love it so much more than I thought I would. Like especially the wedding stuff because it's like it's just so happy. You're just you're just at a day which like people to the most important day of these two people's lives, and like everyone around them is just supporting them, and just so much love in the air. And you're the band who like have to bring the energy and bring the happiness to the people for that 2 hours. And it's just like a real I find it a real privilege a lot of the times, and yeah, just really love it.
And you get your own wedding come up, as you mentioned, a few months' time. So
Yeah.
what's happening for that? Are you playing that, or have you got your own? You got
Yeah,
another
so one of
band
the acts
coming?
that I manage, Brian Grogan, he's a Irish singer. He's
Uh-huh.
really great, and we're really deep into his campaign now. And he's got a new single coming out probably in a couple of months' time. So yeah, check him out, Brian Grogan. If you like your folk kind of rock, like Henry Jameson vibe. Um, he was due to play the wedding, and he was going to play a bunch of Frightened Rabbit songs for us. Like he was getting the first song down, but then he's like lost his voice. He's like got modules, I think they're called, and nodules on his
Yeah,
vocal
yeah.
cords. He's got like one on each vocal cord, so he basically can't sing at the moment, which is probably like my worst nightmare to happen to like any musician, I would say, for them to lose their voice. Like he was like a professional musician. He was also doing the wedding stuff, like a lot of cover work. Like his main source of income was being a singer as well as the original stuff. So it was a real like hit. Obviously for me as well as he was like one of the main acts that I've been promoting for the last year. So from like we were doing loads of momentum for him to just not be able to play live anymore or go on radio or anything, really sucked a lot. But he is in a recovery. He's gone to a professional voice coach, and they've given him a lot of therapy that he can do with like steam, like getting steam on the
Uh-huh.
vocals. And I think he'll be back singing in about 6 months' time or something like that, which is obviously a long time, really. But he's staying positive about it. And we recorded a bunch of stuff, so we have about four more singles that we can release. So he can still stay busy with the release strategy. That's all fine, but just in terms of playing live. So that means that obviously with the wedding, I pulled my band in. So I'm getting my own wedding band to play at my own wedding. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn it into like a karaoke, like bandioke night. So like all my mates can get up with the band and sing. So I'll probably do like 5 songs at the start of the night, and then I should probably actually join my wife. You know what I mean? I think she'd be a bit annoyed if I'm just sat on the stage all night like singing. So yeah, but she's actually a guitar player myself, like herself, my fiance. She does like classical guitar with her mum, so they're gonna play a couple of songs, and she sings as well, and it's gonna be really nice. Can't wait.
That sounds amazing. That could be the best gig of the year.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
I'm sure it's gonna be really good. Yeah, can't
it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, getting an insight into all the other aspects of the music industry and stuff like that. Obviously, the last bit of the podcast, being called Time for Heroes, I asked my guests to pick 4 heroes to come for dinner, why they're your heroes and what you would cook them. Who have you got? Who would be your first hero?
hero. Yeah, I've been thinking about this. I've written down a bunch of them, but yeah, I think my first one is Gary Gygax, who was the creator of the game Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
Because I love playing D&D. I'm like a super nerd when it comes to stuff like that. And yeah, it's been a big part of my life since I was like 14, 13. It's such a creative outlet for me, and my friends. And whilst I haven't been releasing music, I've just felt like I've had that creativity because I'm like a DM, so I'm like in charge of the game for one of the games that we play. So I'm always writing stories and like coming up with different ventures and plot lines and monologues for people, and I love that. I love that element, and I kind of took it on with the second album for Van Susan's Human Heat, where I'd write a couple of songs that are based a bit on old folklore. First album was very much personal stuff, like about love, my own experiences. But in the second album, I started to like do storytelling, like stuff that wasn't necessarily true. It was like just folklore. Like one of the songs called Crossroads, written a song about a vampire called Lupin. Like it's all on there. But yeah, I decided recently to take it a step further, and I'm gonna be doing a solo project on my own as an artist called Faye Hart the Bard, and like Faye Hart is a character that's from my D&D campaign that I play. I play a bard character. He's like a wandering spellcaster guy who plays guitar and sings. So I'm
Hmm.
like playing the songs that he would be playing in session, and I'm releasing them. So tomorrow I'm in the studio doing violin to like finish off three songs, and I'll be releasing my first one in a couple of months, which is very exciting for me. So Gary Gygax, he was like the creator of D&D. I just think he'd be really interesting to like just pick his brain about like everything
Yeah.
nerdy, just talk about his creation of it. He's a
There
big
is a
nerd.
big market for it, though, isn't there? I've been in Edinburgh a couple of times, and they get like wee shops on the Royal Mile that you see like a team of them in there playing it.
Yeah, it's like millions of people playing now. It's insane. Like there's this YouTube channel called Critical Role, and they get like 10 million like streams and what like, every episode they put out. So yeah, I want to tap into that market and meet people, and you basically play games online with people. So I would offer to like play or like in their game as as that character and play my songs to them like, in the game. You know what I mean? And write songs about their character. So I've got big plans for it. I'm excited about it. Going to be shooting a music video for one of the songs called Dragonfire soon, and yeah, just really excited to be releasing more stuff. So that'll be alongside the Van Susan's releases. Just finally doing a solo project. I never thought I would, but I've been linked up with a really great producer. He's based out in Brighton. Um, this guy called Katie, uh, and yeah, working with him has just really opened up doors because he can fill the points that I can't fill because I'm good at guitar and singing, and that's all I
Mhm.
can do really. Like when it comes to like Ed still scores the violin parts for me, and then I get violinists down to play that. But in terms of like the bass playing and the piano and the drums, that's all kind of done by KD. So he's like my right hand man in that. So we're kind of doing that together. So it's perfect.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, next, Scott Hutchinson from Frightened Rabbit.
Hmm.
Like he genuinely is my biggest influence in terms of music. Like, as soon as I heard Frightened Rabbit song with that like dark, kind of folky storytelling, it just opened up like an avenue for writing for me. And I just think he's just like so underrated as a musician with his songs. The Modern Leper is like probably my favorite song, and it's just such an interesting way of like telling someone that you love them by comparing yourself to being a leper and your limbs are falling off.
Hmm.
Like, it's just great. I'd pick his brains apart for what kind of like pedals setup he would have like on stage because some of the guitar sounds that he makes like are just so great. So I'd definitely be Scott Hutchinson from Frightened Rabbit. Um, my next song will be Arsene Wenger
Oh,
from
I've seen that actually. You're an Arsenal fan. I did see that.
yeah. Yeah, Arsene Wenger, because I'm a massive Arsenal fan. We're having a really great season at the moment, and I'm loving it. But yeah, I was always a Wenger fan. I kind of deviated a little bit towards the end of his reign when we started dropping off and stuff. But
Yeah.
when he left, and then we didn't get in the Champions League for 6 years, I was a bit like, oh, you know what? In hindsight, Wenger was a really great, special guy. I really like his like yeah, just the way he handled himself. He just made Arsenal into like the best one of the we're going to be one of the biggest clubs in the world forever now because of him, I think. And seems like a classy bloke. I'd have a bottle of red with him. I'd let him pick the bottle of red. I reckon he probably got better taste than I have.
Mm.
Yeah,
On Arsenal, actually, I'm a Celtic fan.
he's
Um,
Celtic.
so what the hell's happened to Kieran Tierney?
Yeah, he's is he playing? He's playing abroad now, and is
Yeah,
it?
he's at Sociedad, Real
Yeah,
Sociedad, but
I thought it was a shame. I always really liked him. I don't really understand what happened with that because I know he brought in a couple of other players in his position, like Tommy Yasu. I think ended up playing. No, it's Zinchenko took his spot,
Zinchenko.
didn't he? Yeah, as left back. Yeah, and he's a bit unreliable. So I personally was really surprised when Tierney got dropped, but I mean I do have like all the faith in Arteta now because he said he had a plan and it's really coming together. We're on top
Mm.
of the league at the moment. We're laughing. So
I
you obviously see something.
I get the impression, obviously, with Arteta's Rangers connections. I wonder if there's that element to it. I wonder if he didn't want him there because of the rivalry between Celtic and Rangers. It just seems a bit odd because, I mean, Kieran Tierney was an absolute icon for us.
Yeah,
And then watching him go to Arsenal, you kind of thought he could kick on. I would have imagined him as a future Arsenal captain. He's that type of player, and for him
yeah,
to be playing abroad, which when he left Celtic, I would have preferred him to go abroad. I thought his game was suited to maybe Italy or something like that.
yeah,
But once you get a player like that down into the English Premiership, for it to then no seem to work out the way it has,
yeah.
it's an absolute shame.
Yeah, I thought it was really weird. Like he was one of my favorite players just from watching him play. He'd get the odd goal as well. Like, but yeah, I don't know. Zinchenko seems to be the favoured choice, and then we got that other Polish guy coming now, Kiwior, who's really kicking on. He's doing really, really good for us.
Hmm.
So we've got a lot of players competing for that position now. I suppose he was just excess, wasn't he, to
So
requirements?
somebody else will take him. Somebody else will pick him off, Tierney. Like I reckon maybe Newcastle come in for
Yeah,
him in the summer.
that's probably a good shout. That'd be a good fit for him. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So Arsene Wenger, 100%. Have him for dinner any day of the week. That'd be amazing. The other one would be my dad, if that's all right to say.
Yeah,
My
that's
dad.
perfect. That's really nice.
Yeah, he was just a huge influence on my music and obviously life. He was just such a lovely man, like family man. He was so like his life was his family, do you know what I mean? And us, like me and my brother and sister, he'd always push us to do what we wanted to. So I wouldn't be into music anywhere near as much without him. So he definitely was my probably my biggest hero really in my life. And when he passed away, it was really rattled all of us so much. Had such a big influence. Feel like I have like a black hole patch in my life during that time. Like a lot of people would describe it as that. But yeah, we just remember the times of listening to music in the kitchen, drinking a beer. He just have this huge CD collection of like, anything from he loved Pill, obviously, all the way to Sex Pistols and Joy Division and everything 80s. And I just got such a eclectic music taste now. And I think it's mostly down to him and his like influence on me. So I would give anything to have another meal with my dad, to be honest. I'm sure anyone else who's lost a loved one would say the same. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
As obviously you mentioned like the Van Susan's the first album was quite personal. Like I've listened to that quite a bit over the last couple of days. So um one of the songs that kind of touched me was If I Succeed,
yeah,
which is listening to the lyrics and that then is that kind of about your dad?
yeah. It is. It
Is
is
that
about my
the
dad. Yeah, that was when he was when I found out that he was sick. It just like all the emotions poured out of me, and me and Ed sat down yeah in the afternoon and came up with If I Succeed, and I got like a really strong memory of playing it. And we did this show in the O2. Uh, and there's like a venue in the OT called the Indigo 2, which is like not obviously the big arena, but it's like another smaller venue. It was a big show for us. We managed to like we sold it out with the other bands that were on the lineup, and we ended up playing that. And I got a viola player and a violin player to come out, and we did If I Succeed. And I remember my dad was in the crowd, and he just put his hands up, being like, yeah, like loving it, like put like being like, yeah, the song's for me, Wigs. That's what he was like. He never, when he got ill, it was never like never down about it. He was never like
yeah.
defeated. He always had his head held up, and he had every intention of beating it. but he obviously never did. It's just a cruel fate. But yeah, he was just such a positive guy, and I always remember that was one of my fondest memories of him, just being like just so happy and um yeah, such a positive force. Yeah,
It's
but
it's it's a really nice story though. That he got to hear it. He got to hear it before he passed away and things like that. It's nice that there was that connection there.
yeah, yeah, for sure. With the Van Susan stuff, we I did a few songs about that, and it really had its hold on me like a lot. Like there's a song Seagulls and Live Forever, another two songs on an EP that we did after Pause in the Moment. And I remember just having a conversation with Ed where I just get fatigued from playing it because it would just be such a like remembering all the time all that stuff. And like so I kind of like we kind of end up dropping it from the set a lot of those kind of songs because playing it over and over and over, it does just have a toll. Like it
Yeah,
weighs on you. I feel like a lot of acts will tell you the same. So I tried to like with this new album step away from writing stuff that's so personal and like hurts you. Do you know what I mean? I want to just like I used to have this mentality where I could never write songs which were fake. Like they had to be real. Like if I came up with a lyric that wasn't true to me, even though if it was a good lyric, I'd cross it out. I wouldn't sing it and I'd write something else if that had to be me. And I had like a revelation of it just with like human heat. Like it just doesn't have to be that. It can just be the song. You can just write the song for the song's sake. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be true. So that's what I'm doing now, moving forwards, like really leaning into just writing
yeah.
songs.
It must be hard though to make that conscious kind of step to that way. It's kind of like similar to me, like in films. Like watching films, I can't watch like a film unless it's real life, really. So like
Yeah.
I could watch Goodfellas, but I couldn't watch Star Wars.
All right.
Or I couldn't watch like Lord of the Rings or something like that. I can't watch fictional stuff and that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
my brain
But
just
yeah.
can't comprehend that. It needs to be something that can physically happen, so I can see kind of what it must be like writing a song. That'd be the way I'd be. It need to be
Yeah.
true to life.
Yeah, it's a big journey with it. When you do it enough, you kind of go through like, yeah, I've definitely changed my mind on a lot of approaches of songwriting over the years. And I find that yeah, you're just gonna write a better song if you just don't have any restrictions on yourself. Like the way to come up with original stuff is to drastically change the way that you write your songs as well, whether or not it's with the different people or writing lyrics before the music, music before the lyrics, and the instruments that you put it on, and changing the key, changing the chord progression, all that stuff. It's just you're going to come out with different things. So, writing concepts of like true stories and false stories, made up for stories, you're going to have a real variety. Because I find a lot of acts, the trouble that they would have is they write one really killer song and then all the other songs in the album are just similar to that one killer song. Whereas I'd never want to do that. I always want to like really write a massive variety of tunes. That's what we always try and do, me and Ed, when we come up with new stuff. So,
Brilliant. And what you cooking all these guys?
oh yeah.
Just to see
uh,
how good a cook you are.
I fancy myself as a bit of a cook. My fiance Lucy, she can't cook at all, bless her. But
Right.
but what she lacks with cooking, she makes up in her good nature and loveliness and stuff. So I really don't mind at all cooking basically every
Rescued
single
that
meal.
there, hadn't you, in case you listen to the podcast.
She definitely will be for sure. Yeah, she works at the Times. She's a reporter. She's starting to do her own podcast in May. She's
Right.
like, yeah, so I'm going to be watching that. So she can listen to me for a change. But yeah, right. So for the opener, I would have oysters. I'm actually a
Right.
vegetarian, but my one vice is oysters. I don't know why. Like I'll have maybe like two a year, so it's not like a big thing. But there's something about it. They just don't really feel very alive to me, like at all. They just kind of like exist as like a little piece of muscle. So I don't mind eating the odd oyster. But yeah, there's a place like in near where I live in Kent called Whitstable, and they got like an oyster bay. Like so you can literally go on the beach. You're not supposed to, but you can go on the beach and just pick them up. Like they're
Hmm.
technically owned by the local like oyster bar, but whatever. Just pick them up from there, take them home, crack them open with like one of those fork things. Lovely jubbly. So that's what I'd start. Oysters all around. And then, yeah, I guess the second starter I would do my famous garlic and mushroom soup. Really simple ingredients, just like loads and loads of mushrooms, loads of garlic, like probably a whole bulb of garlic, couple of potatoes, and then a full onion. It's really simple because I find with like soup, people just like inundated with loads of different ingredients, but you just don't. You just need minimal ingredients, and yeah, like a massive load of crusty tiger bread with Lurpak butter. It's got to be Lurpak. It is the best.
Yeah.
Sounds what it'd be.
I
It's
was
very,
having this
very garlicky. You
conversation
will,
with my wife just the other day. We had hot
yeah,
cross buns for breakfast the other day, and we had normal butter and Lurpak. So they did theirs first, and then I went in and opened a fresh box of Lurpak. And she's
nice.
like, "Why you done that?" I says, "You can't have crap butter on like a nice breakfast."
Yeah, fancy. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, we always insist on having Lurpak in our house. It's like an absolute must do. Um, and then my main, I'd probably have a spicy vegetable curry because I love my curries and I'm a massive spice head. So if I'd ask everyone if they wanted like how hot they wanted it. I'd probably make two. I'd probably make a mild one and then a really hot version of it. Ended
yeah,
up my mum's got a house out in Maidstone, like a farmhouse. And me and my brother over lockdown, I kind of moved back in for a while over lockdown just because I didn't want to be away from him and stuff. And we would every single week on Wednesday we'd have a curry and we'd add another chili to it each week. And it got to the point where we were having like I think 14 chilies we added and they were like I can't remember what they called like Naga chilies. No, I think they're called Naga chilies, yeah. And it got so hot, like it was unbelievable. Me and him just like determined, sat opposite each other, just chewing away. And
oh
then
no,
like my mom's boyfriend at the time that had one mouthful and he was just like couldn't eat for the rest of the day. It was just that hot. So I love my heat. Absolutely love it. Yeah, I also do really good homemade bargies as well. I'm pretty good at making homemade bargies, so I do that as well. And then dessert, I'll probably make a sticky toffee pudding with custard, but it would be out of the tin because I can't make it from scratch. But I
right.
think sticky toffee pudding is the best dessert in the world. No one can tell me otherwise. I bloody love it. And cold custard, it's got to be cold custard. I don't know like this hot custard stuff.
It's a debate in my house as well, that the hot custard, cold custard thing.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly fan of custard anyway.
All right. Well, there you
I
go.
prefer maybe ice cream or something with that.
No, it's got to be custard. I'm afraid. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's me. Sounds like a bloody lovely evening. My
no,
guess.
that sounds brilliant. I absolute pleasure having you on. It's been good to get a kind of a different side to the music industry as well as the artist.
Cheers, man.
So I'm sure it'll be quite insightful for my listeners.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
for sure. Thanks a lot
um,
for having me. Yeah, if you ever need any more advice on anything with your new acts that you're going to be taking on, like I'm always around for a call.
yeah, that would be amazing.
Cool, man.
So thanks again for coming on. I'll post all the links to the socials in the show notes,
Cheers,
so
mate.
people can get in contact with you there. But absolute pleasure speaking to you today.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Cheers, Martin.
Thank you.
I'll speak to you soon, man.
I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Time for Heroes podcast. If you would like to get in touch, the best way is on the Facebook page, Time for Heroes podcast, or on Instagram at Time for Heroes podcast, or Twitter at Time for Heroes P1, or drop me an email at timeforheroespod at gmail.com. You'll find Time for Heroes on all podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple, Google, and Amazon. Please leave a review where you can, share with others, and more importantly, enjoy.